COP28 is currently underway in UAE with talks on climate finance, climate action and much more. Prime Minister Modi recently concluded his visit to UAE, where he made a pitch for India to host COP33 in 2028. Ambassador of UAE to India exclusively spoke to DD India correspondent on COP28 and more. Let's listen in.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi recently concluded his visit to UAE where he went for the COP28. Also, he held a bilateral meeting with the leadership of UAE. Obviously, we know that COP28 is underway in UAE and the presidency is conducting the COP28 successfully. Besides that, also there are a lot of things on the table in terms of climate change, climate action, climate financing and more. And to talk more on this, we are joined in by the Ambassador of UAE to India, and we'll talk more and obviously get to know more on what has the conversation at COP28 been about. So thank you so much for joining us, and we are glad to have you on DD India. First of all, we definitely know that Prime Minister had a visit there, and where he also announced that the COP33 will be held in India in 2028. What do you have to say about it? We'll start with that.
Well, hopefully you'll be able to host it, and I'm sure if you do, it will be a successful one, just like we have done with the G20. And obviously, I wish India all the best. We have had nothing but support from India during our COP28 presidency. And when the time comes, and from now until then as well, India can count on the UAE support.
What do we have to say about in terms of the meetings that are going on in COP28? How do you assess it by now? What has the reactions been, especially in terms of climate financing?
Well, they have been fruitful and productive. So far, there is an amount of 57 billion US dollars that have come forward in terms of commitments and pledges. The loss and damage fund has been operationalized with 700 million US dollars, with the UAE committing 100 million US dollars to the fund. 130 countries have signed on the Food and Agriculture Declaration. 120 countries plus have signed on to the Climate Health Declaration. India has signed on the Climate Finance Declaration as one of 13 countries who have done so. So all in all, we have had quite significant progress in COP28, and I'm sure that this momentum will continue.
And when we are looking at, putting the voice of Global South in COP28, because these are the developing countries, and India has also made sure that its priorities under the G20 and its G20 presidency, which just concluded, was also that bringing the voice of Global South on the table.
This is also why we have had meetings with the G20 Sherpa. We made sure that we are fully committed to the tangible outcomes that have come out of the G20, and that those can be taken forward in the COP28 presidency. Not only that, but if you look at COP28, you would see that this is one of the most inclusive COPs that have ever been hosted, and one of the highest youth participations. There have been commitments not only from countries, but also from companies.
And when we actually look at the bilateral relationship between India and UAE, we know that high-level visits have caught up momentum, and we also do see that there was a bilateral meeting between UAE leadership and Prime Minister Narendra Modi.
There is a special bond and a very good friendship between the two leaders. Obviously, COP28 was and is the most important topic at the moment that was discussed between them, but they also discussed other ways and other fields through which they could advance the bilateral relationship between the two countries, whether it's trade, economic, or any other sector.
What do you have to say about, since the SEPA concluded, how is the trade momentum building up?
It's been increasing. So we are now at 50 billion US dollars milestone in non-oil trade. We are at more than 80 billion US dollars in bilateral trade that includes oil. Investments have been flowing in both directions. And trading in local currencies have added to this momentum by making it easier for traders, business people and investors to settle their trades and to settle their balances in both local currencies.
We saw the Paris Agreement, we then saw the COP in Glasgow and then different places. What is, in a sense, we can say the COP28 presidency trying to achieve with this?
I've said this before and I'll say it again. We make things happen in the UAE. As you see, and as I mentioned earlier, this is one of the most inclusive COPs. It also is a COP where countries have come forward with commitments and pledges, making sure that we all have a common way forward to mitigating climate risk and making sure that we secure the future of our future generations. Not only that, but even when we talk about companies, we've had 50 companies sign on the oil and gas decarbonization charter. And so all in all, it seems that we have managed to garner commitment, we have managed to garner a significant amount of interest to be able to push the climate agenda forward.
We know that Vibrant Gujarat, the Global Summit, the Investors Summit is round the corner. And obviously, UAE has a big part to play.
UAE is a partner of Vibrant Gujarat. I know that I'll be in Vibrant Gujarat, and I know that whenever Vibrant Gujarat takes place, the UAE participates at the highest and most senior level possible, and you could always count on that. Gujarat is our #1 trading partner among all Indian states, and I believe this is something that will continue to be the case because of the flow of investments from the UAE into Gujarat in the various sectors. Food security is one of them through the Food Parks project under the ITU2 umbrella. There is also managing ports and handling cargo in those ports.
I have another question to ask in terms of the Hindu temple that's garnering a lot of eyeballs, and there is a lot of excitement in people here in India as well about the Hindu temple coming up in UAE. What do you have to say about it? When will we see it getting inaugurated?
I visited the temple in September last year before I come to India during its early stages of construction, and I believe it's going to be inaugurated in the first quarter of 2024. The temple not only is something that Indians are looking forward to seeing, but also people in the UAE are looking forward to seeing it as it stands a testament of Indian hand craftsmanship as well as a token of acceptance, coexistence and tolerance in the region.
So here we had the ambassador of UAE to India speak to us on diverse issues, obviously COP28 because UAE is the presidency. We also spoke about the Vibrant Gujarat summit that's obviously round the corner and will be held in January next year. Besides that, also the momentum that is being constantly built up with high-level visits from UAE to India and India to UAE. With camera person Kumar Datta and my colleague Sunny Kalra, this is Meghna Dev for DD India from New Delhi.